Kick it off.
I'm giving you a warning, fair warning. He's not gonna agree. You're gonna.
What am I not gonna agree
with? You have your way of viewing what happened.
I don't got
I have my way of viewing what happened.
It's gonna be the same.
It's not.
Welcome back, family. Once again, it's Daleyan and Alexis here with a special, a very interesting video we have in store for you guys today.
So, our love life is interesting.
Explain.
So today, or tonight, we are going to be getting into the deep conversation of how we met or how we came about.
Do you want to tell them how this all started?
Yeah, so basically on Valentine's Day, I used my Instagram platform to ask my followers how they met their significant others or Valentine. And I asked them to share their stories with me, and a lot of people shared their stories with me about how they met their lover, and it was really sweet. But a lot of people were asking me how me and Daleyan met as well, and I decided to just make it into a video because it's very
right here.
It's something.
You're getting the origin story between me and Alexis.
And just our life.
So,
without further ado, Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Okay, kick it off.
Kick
it off.
I'm giving you a warning, fair warning. He's not gonna agree.
What am I not gonna agree with?
No, you have your way of viewing what happened. I have my way of viewing what happened.
It's gonna be the same.
It's not, because first, you know what? We'll get into that.
Alright, cool.
So, let's start off by explaining how I met Daleyan or when I met Daleyan. So,
well, you been knew me.
Obviously.
Alright, go ahead. Let me. Alright, my bad.
So, I'm not gonna get into the whole where I was born, where I grew up type of conversation, because that's a whole different conversation that people probably are not ready for. Basically, when I was, how old are you when you're in third grade?
Third grade?
6? No,
6?
7?
I think 8.
However old you are in third grade, I was that old when me and my family moved down Maple, and I went to Piney Branch Elementary School, and there I had a whole group of friends. I'm not gonna name everybody because there's a lot of people, but Daleyan was amongst those people. And since third grade, I kind of already knew him. We went to the same schools from third grade and up. So I can't really say that. I can't really say that I liked him or anything. I was.
Time out. Because I'm holding a lot of shit in right now.
No,
I'm holding a lot
this is my story.
Bruh.
I have to tell it. So, basically, I can't really say that I liked him. I kind of treated Daleyan like the invisible boatmobile of
dirt.
SpongeBob.
What's worse than dirt?
I was mean to him.
I didn't even talk to her. It's every time she would give me a stink face or ew.
It's because in Piney Branch, there was a selected amount. There was a select few amount of people who were kind of the eye of popularity. So when it came to the boys in that scenario, he just wasn't it. No one was looking his way, kind of. like not in elementary school. So it was kind of just like when you see him, you're just like, ew, get away from me, or why are you talking to me, or stink eye this or stink eye that, or just ignoring you. So I can't really say that I liked him. Third, fourth, or third or fourth grade.
She started.
Fifth grade, I started growing on you because of a certain somebody that was a really, really close friend of mine. Because them two had gotten into it with one another, feelings and all. And I was like, I was there for that. I shipped them in fifth grade because why not? Whatever. But they weren't really like, were y'all together in fifth grade?
You see, the thing about elementary school relationships is like it's cute, but I don't really count it as like.
Well, okay, we're counting it as in we're counting it because back then we counted it as something. Okay. So I would say like they had like an on and off relationship for a long time. Not a long time, but a couple years. So fast forward to middle school, sixth grade, to come apart in middle school. Him and that significant other. Mind you, there's been a whole lot of significant others with this one over here, Mr. Player Cards.
I don't know what
because he had a whole bunch of fun. Okay, he had a whole bunch of fun. I don't know. That's not my story, but he had his fair share of women. I can honestly say that he probably dated or talked to half of the whole clique that kind of made up our group, if that makes sense. Except for like maybe like one person or two people, maybe like maybe like a couple people he didn't, but most of them he did. So sixth grade, him and that other person, y'all were on, right? Y'all dated sixth grade, right?
Sixth grade.
Y'all had to have dated sixth grade.
Yeah.
They dated, I don't know. They dated somewhere in between sixth grade, and then they kind of like fell off. So, getting into the story, because this is obviously going to be a very long story. Getting into the story. Mind you, that person that he was on and off with was one of my best friends. So, yeah. So, there was a point in time where they weren't, like, together. Like, she still liked him, he still liked her, but they weren't really together. But at that point, looking back now, like, it's obvious that the two of them liked each other. But back then, when we were that age, looking into the situation, we really couldn't tell because it was kind of just like either party was scared to approach one another. So they kind of just, whatever, went about their days as if, if she's not going to say something, then I'm not. Or if he's not going to say something, I'm not type of thing. So, yeah. So, there was this one particular night where everybody was at, like, the recreation center or whatever. And that's just where we used to hang out, all of us, after school, on weekends, or whatever, just to get out the house. We would stay out late, like, because why not? I guess our parents were kind of just... They didn't really care.
But they knew where we were.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So it was this one particular night where we were all just... One particular summer night, I should say. It was summer. So no school, no nothing. So we were all just at the recreation center sitting outside on, like, one of the little picnic tables out there, and we were bored, so, we decided to play a game. So, instead of playing, like, like a... Yo. I feel like I'm about to throw up. Instead of playing, like, a game that's meant for 6th graders. We played.
We were 7th graders.
We were almost 7th graders.
We were out of 6, so we would consider 7th graders.
Whatever. We were almost 7th graders. It was the summer that we got out of 6th grade. So, yeah, like I was saying, instead of playing a 6th grade game, we decided to play a different type of hide and seek, I guess.
Yeah.
Basically the game was called Manhunt. Whatever. So there was a decent amount of girls, there was a decent amount of guys. So basically what we did was the girls would like sit at the table with their backs turned to the guys and have the guys like run and hide or whatever. And once they hide or whatever, the girls have to go and hunt for one of the guys, like hunt for the guys. And I don't really understand really the gist of like the game. Like I don't really know what you're supposed to do once you find a guy.
Manhunt is like it's like tag.
But it's like tag kind of. But
hide and seek tag.
So it's like once you hunt the guy, he ends up being a part of your team to help try and hunt the other players.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't play it like that.
I mean, no, we played it like that. Well, it's just that the way
there was different terms.
There was no terms yet. It just happened while playing a regular game.
Yeah. Okay. So wow. I'm for sure putting myself out there, but so yeah. Basically, that's how the game went. So when it came time to like go hunt the guys or whatever, I ran off to try and find people, and so did all the other girls. And as I'm like running up the hill, for people who are familiar with like Tacoma Park and like the recreational center or whatever, and Tacoma Park Elementary and Piney Branch Elementary, like you know how close in vicinity they are. So I took it upon myself to like try and walk up the hill to Tacoma Park Elementary School, and I just saw this black figurine like just standing behind a bush, and I didn't know what it was, but I looked like, and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I was like, is that a person or is that like just a bush? Like I'm confused. So I looked even harder, and then it was this guy standing right here. But instead of like him like coming out of hiding to kind of help me find the others, he was kind of like he was telling me to like be quiet. Like he was all like, and I'm like,
hey.
Me like what? And he's like, and I'm like, okay. So my dumb ass, of course, my stupid self, la da 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 da, okay, I'm going walking over there to the bush. It's dark as hell, like it's dark, and walk over there, la da da da, and yeah,
things happen.
Things happen.
Things happen.
There, not the things that you guys would think happened, but things happen. I was still a virgin, whatever. So don't think like that. But things happen. And then that was kind of like the start of like our little like fling / like FWB's relationship kind of. Because it was like after that point, it was like every time we saw each other, something was bound to happen. Like not sex, not
like 80% of the time. Not all the time. Not all the time.
All the time, multiple times, all the time.
I think I would remember if it was all the time. All right, cool.
It was pretty much all the time, unless there was like a whole. Honestly, even if there was a whole group, once the group was gone, you lived down the street from me, so the one that you talked to on and off always had a curfew, so she could never stay out past like 10 o'clock, my mom always knew where I was at. So it was either I was outside at the playground with somebody, I was in the building in the staircase with somebody, I was at the park with somebody, I was up near your house with somebody. Like I was always with somebody. So it was, she didn't really care. So yes, it was all the time. So that was the start of like our friends with benefits
And then
stage.
from middle school, it kind of progressed into like high school.
Yeah,
Like basically the same thing.
From the start, yeah, from the start of
high school is when it took a turn.
6th grade.
Well, six through the end of
6 through 8 was
it was
kind of
basically
just
like
it was the same thing, but it was more complicated because it was like we're kids, but he has crushes, but I'm in the mix and his crush is in the mix, and then it's just like this love triangle type of situation where everybody's like hating on me because of the things that's going on or the things that I did that everybody found out about.
Yeah, but then it's like when we got to like 9th grade, it was like
when we got to like
everything kind of died
grade,
down.
It's not like no, it did not. It did not die down in 9th grade. It was still affected. Like, it still took effect.
But it wasn't.
The thing is like when 9th grade came about, like granted the backlash that I got from dealing with him from 6th through 8th grade were still prominent. Like they were still there, but the society had changed. So it's like the things that I did back then that people would like bash me for or be hypocritical about, or not hypocritical about, but the things that people would like kind of make fun of me about or like tease me about, they couldn't really be hypocritical about in 9th grade because they were pretty much doing the same thing that I was
doing it back then. But
not
nobody knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like back then it was just like, wow, you did that, you're a hoe or whatever, blah blah blah. But then it's like when you get to 9th grade, you're just like, oh, you did that? Well, I did that too. Or I've done that, or I had done that, or I want to do that type of thing. So it was like society had changed when 9th grade came about. So even though I was still like getting like all of the backlash of like kind of being like a home wrecker or like ruining people's relationships or just stop messing with a guy who's in a relationship or like somebody else type of thing. Other than that, like honestly, it didn't really stop me because I was just like, whatever, like he's coming on to me just as much as I'm coming on to him. So you can't just be mad at me, like he has to take some of the backlash with it too. But nobody would touch him. Like he was just one of those people that nobody would approach and be like, you're dead wrong for doing this, you're dead wrong for doing that, you shouldn't be doing that, blah blah blah. No one cared. Like everybody was like, oh, Daleyan's doing this, Daleyan did that, oh shit, that's what's up type of shit. It was like that.
Oh my god.
It was like that. Nobody would tell you shit. They just let you do it. That was with most of y'all. Most of the guys.
Okay. Go ahead. This.
At least from my point of view, that's how it looked. Like nobody told the guys anything. It was just they do it. But honestly, that's just society because society's like that now. Like the girls get more backlash than guys do nowadays because you wouldn't expect a girl to do the things that a guy would do. So yeah. 9th grade. 9th grade. It kind of like. It was still the same type of situation, except for we're in high school now. And
I didn't really have a girl in 9th grade.
I don't.
Because the person I was talking to in 8th grade moved.
No, she was still.
For a little bit, but then she moved.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
She went to Blair, but she didn't stay in Blair.
So
she ended up leaving. So I would say like 9th grade was kind of just a regular old like high like
it was
freshman year.
It was like middle school, but kind of high schoolish. But like we were still exploring like other things too, like because then at the same time like Alex. I mean you. Well, that wasn't 9th grade.
Don't even say I was in a relationship because I wasn't.
That was 10th grade.
Oh my gosh, we're not there yet.
Okay.
But anyways, 9th grade, we were still in that type of, phase where we were talking to each other or whatever. And whatchamacallit, 9th grade was around the time when I met your mom 9th grade, right? I met your mom sometime in high school. Because it was after your grandma.
After my grandma passed. I remember you coming to my house with someone.
I came to your house with
a person.
Yeah.
That was 10th grade.
Okay, so that we're not there yet.
That was like the beginning of 10th. Yeah.
So 9th grade, like we went through homecoming or whatever, but we didn't go together, but we were together, kind of. Like I danced. Did I dance with you? I think I was scared to dance with you because that was the year where homecoming was in the cafeteria, and I don't want to say her name, but A was dancing and she danced on you really like provocatively, and
okay, I remember her.
Yeah, it
okay.
it blew my mind, and I was like, oh, okay. So 9th grade was kind of the regular. 10th grade comes around, and I had met his mom after his grandma passed. I went to his house and I knocked on your door. I knocked on his door with a friend, and his mom opened the door. And at first, like his mom was. I was scared because she wasn't mean. She was very quiet. She wasn't sociable, but she was sociable with the other person that I was with because she knew her. So it was just, obviously like you're not going to be sociable in those terms, like in that time, because it was like she was grieving, mourning. Yeah. So I'm just sitting on the couch or whatever in their living room, and I'm texting Daleyan, and I'm like, hey, I'm in your living room. Come out your room.
And I'm on Xbox.
And and
I'm like...
He's like, what? And then he ends up like opening his door, peeking out, and then going into the bathroom, and then leaving the bathroom after he was done, and then going back into the room and shutting the door.
And I'm like...
And I'm just still sitting on the couch like, okay, this is awkward.
Like, you just came into my house, and I don't even know where you would come into my house.
Yeah, so it was just awkward. So we ended up like after our friend had talked to his mom or whatever, we ended up leaving, and then a couple days later, I went back, since I knew where he lived at that point. I went back to his house and I knocked on the door, and his mom answered the door or whatever. And I was like, is Daleyan home? And she was just like, why? And I was just like, I just wanted to know if he can come outside. And he was like, no, Daleyan can't come outside. And then she slammed the door in my face. And I was like, okay. And at that point, like, I kind of felt like I was embarrassed, and I was also like, I was mortified because I was like, oh my gosh. So his mom wouldn't let him come outside. I don't know why, but she wouldn't.
If you got
so
foreign parents,
I kind of
the rules of coming outside.
So I kind of just let it slide, and I just kind of like went up to the park or whatever. And then like 20 minutes later, here comes Daleyan walking in his freaking, what were they? The Jordan, what were they? 6s? The gold, red, and what are they? You had on some freaking basketball shorts, a white tank top or whatever.
How do you remember his clothing?
Because she's a creep.
I was obsessed. I don't know. It was something. Whatever. But he ended up walking up to the park after that, like 20 minutes later. And I was like, okay, cool, this is fine, blah, 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 blah. And, the same activities that we had did for the previous years kind of took place again and again and again and again and again. So that was 10th grade. So we were obviously still like messing with each other, even though there was multiple like just things jumping in the mix. Like, I can't remember absolutely everything that happened each year of high school, but yeah. Whether it was relationships, whether it was flings, whether it was talking stages, whether it was fighting, I don't know, but yeah, 10th grade kind of went like any other year. Then fast forward to the harder years, the 11th grade. Pretty much the same old stuff, except for, you know, we were kind of closer than we were like before. When it came to like lunches or whatever, you know, go off campus, get food, come back. He tried to steal my food or eat my food or think he has like you know, he has the power to just eat my food or just do whatever he wants with the things that are mine or with me because of the relationship that we had. Yes, you did. Because every time my mom would drop off food for me, you'd be like, oh, break down. And I'm just like, okay, how am I going to say no to you? Because I'm not going to say no to you because why would I? So I would just let you do it or just give it to you. Be like, here you go, you can have it. You know, I just be nice like that. But what happened in 11th grade? That was
Still the juice and it, which was really disrespectful to my kind. And it would just sit on the floor.
Whatever.
Alexis, you know, because you used to spill it all the time.
Don't ignore that.
No. You'd always take a whole waste my
Okay.
And not drink it. Just
Okay.
leave it. No.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You're going to jail.
Anyways.
She made me lose my train of thought.
I don't really remember what significant parts of 11th grade are worth knowing. Did anything specific happen in 11th grade?
You tell it.
I don't really remember if anything important happened. 11th grade, I feel like one party was introduced, but she wasn't like important. She was a friend of a friend, and she wore glasses. So I know you know who I'm talking about. The one that you say wasn't anything but was.
Oh.
And you went to like Montgomery Mall with her. She was like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was.
So that I feel like that was 11th grade, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he was in a relationship 11th grade, or not in a relationship, whatever. They were in a relationship with her, and I ended up getting into like a really brief relationship. Or I tried to make it a relationship, but it just didn't work out with somebody in 11th grade. It didn't last. It kind of lasted for like 2 weeks, and then it really wasn't.
2 weeks.
It did.
It was like
It was 2 weeks because the first week. I keep telling you the story. The first week it was like, I'm not even gonna get into the details because whatever. But the first week didn't go well, so I ended it, and then they told me to give him another chance, and then I did, and then the second week it was still the same thing as the first. So I was just like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. But in between those 2 weeks, Daleyan like was still like prominent. Like I still was messing around with him. A big key factor to this story is from 9th grade to like 12th grade. Instead of us like kind of hanging around at the rec and hanging around outside, it was more so like I'm at his house and he's at my house, but it didn't really like start like fully until like the middle of 10th grade. Like I would like go to his house after school and kind of just hang out with him and just eat food and just watch TV and like
Right.
play games, and then I wouldn't leave his house until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I would like make him walk me home. And we would kind of do that like every day. So it was kind of like if I was at his house, I'd walk home from his house at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he'd walk with me, or he'd walk me halfway, and then I'd stay on the phone with him until I got in the house. Or it was him coming to my house on East West Highway, staying until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then him walking home like at night, and then like kind of like playing it back like that.
Damn.
So yeah, from like starting from 10th grade, it was more of a like, I'm at his house, he's at my house. We leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. I leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. He walked me home, I walk him home, or he walks halfway, or he walks by himself, you know, just whatever.
You never walked me home.
No, I never walked him home. I would walk with him halfway,
No.
and then he would sometimes. I don't know. It's whatever.
You walk with me like 2 houses down.
But that's around the time where like I actually started to actually like have feelings for him. I just didn't let it be known. I mean, I'm pretty sure he knew about him.
You started having feelings for me.
In
What?
like
At
10th grade. Like that's the time. That's around the time where like I actually really wanted to be with you. And like
Okay.
I would always like hit your phone up and like try and text you and be like, hey, can you come over? Do you want to come over? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to do that? And I was like really, really like trying to keep him like to myself. Like I would do whatever I had to do to kind of like keep him, because I didn't want him like wandering off to somewhere else or doing anything with anybody else. So that's like I was always on his, you know, on his line, just trying to keep him intact. Come 11th grade, we kind of ended up like one day I ended up falling asleep at his house, and that kind of started the whole sleepover phase. At that point, like me and his mom had like a relationship where it was, she loved me, she liked me, she didn't really care if I was over there. You know, she would cook for me, she would like make sure I ate, make sure my clothes were clean. Like she even cleaned out a drawer for me for like clothes and undergarments and stuff. Like, you know, she was just caring that way. So that's when we would kind of like I would start sleeping over at his house, but it really wasn't like a lot. It was kind of like just sporadically, like it was one day here maybe, or you know, whatever. He never really spent the night at my house because my mom wouldn't allow it, but my mom would allow him to come over or like be upstairs in my room, or, you know, I'm pretty sure she knew what was going on.
Yeah, because it was that one Friday in 10th grade when she called me and she was like, would you
Mine, yeah, coming over and
keep Alexis
company. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure she knew what was going on.
And then,
but he never got the chance to spend the night. So that 11th grade, we kind of like stuck with that routine, but it was more deeper than that. So at that point, it was more like I would obviously get on the school bus at my house, whatever, go to school. We'd bother each other in the hallway sometimes, or if we were beefing with each other, we'd like give each other like the little side eye or whatever, try to avoid one another, but like it would kind of be that tense, like, you know, you want to talk to me, but I'm not going to talk to you until you talk to me first type of thing. Or it would be like I'd hug his friends that are around him, and then I'd just skip over him, and it'd just be like that, like a whole bunch of animosity. But eventually we'd end up getting out of that and kind of just like moving on. Everybody in our school kind of knew we had something going on. I wouldn't say that everybody like agreed with it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people opposed it, were against it. You know, so it kind of led me to kind of like keep my distance from him while we're like, when we're seen like with the naked eye from people, I would kind of like try and like play it off as much as possible, like, hey, we're just friends. Like, instead of giving him like a full flesh on hug, it'd just be like a, hey, Dillian.
I didn't care.
Whatever. He probably didn't care, but I cared because at that point, like high school, Dillian had a lot of people that liked him. And once they found out me and his history, it was kind of a like they ended up like immediately started hating me because of the relationship that I had with him and the relationship that they couldn't have with him because of me. So I had a lot of enemies, girl enemies in high school because of that. But I didn't let that stop me. I kind of was just like, whatever. Like, y'all just mad that I'm here and y'all not, type of shit. But I wasn't like 100% there. Like, I wasn't like his so-called girlfriend. I was kind of just like, you know, a friend with benefits, I guess you could say.
She was like a best friend with benefits. Cause I knew a lot about her, and at that point she knew like a real good amount about me, and all that other stuff was going on. So it was like kind of a best friend type thing going on, but it was like a special type of dynamic with it. But yeah. So
11th grade, after he got out of the relationship with that one girl that he claims wasn't really a relationship, that's when I started, I got the chills, that's when I started actually spending the night at his house, like spending the night. I would literally like board my bus in the morning, go to school, and then I would take his bus home after school. But instead of me going home, I would go down Maple and literally like go to his house. And I'd stay at his house for a good, like, at this point, it was more like 3 days maybe, or 2 to 3 days. I would stay there and then I would go home. And most of the time, since like I only had one pair of clothes, which was the clothes that I had on when I got to his house, I would like wear his clothes to school so that I'm not wearing the same clothes over again, and then go home and then take a shower, like make sure that I would keep all of his shirts, boxers, jackets, whatever. I would keep all of that stuff at home, and then I would probably leave like all of like the clothes that I didn't wear to school that day at his house, and his mom would end up washing it for me and like putting it up. So that way I have it over there for the next time. And then that was kind of like how 11th grade went. We didn't go to prom junior year. No, we didn't. But we went to homecoming together or whatever. And then after homecoming, I spent the night at his house. And yeah, that's kind of how our relationship went in 11th grade. What? That was
I was talking about with your mom. That was that same night.
That was 11th grade then.
No, dude, that was 2014.
Yeah, okay, so rewind. 10th grade. I swear it was 11th grade. 10th grade, probably like almost the end of 10th grade. I ended up, losing my virginity to that one over here. I think it was like 2 weeks after my 16th birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks after my 16th birthday. It was like literally exactly 2 weeks after my 16th birthday. And my mom was out and we were just in the house, and then it just ended up happening. And then after it happened, this nigga left me and was all like, hey, so I'm going to this party, so bye. And I was just like, okay. So I kind of just sat on the step.
I ain't gonna lie, I was rushing with emotion. Like, it was a lot that was going through my head at that point. Because it was different. It was real different. I don't know, something just sparked, and it was like, I just started tweaking. Like, I was tweaking, but I wasn't like showing that I was tweaking. Yeah, I was tweaking internally.
Definitely wasn't tweaking. He was just like, I'm about to go meet up with blah, blah, blah because there's a party tonight. And I was like, okay. And I kind of just stood there. And then the next day when we were at school, we kind of like I was kind of like, oh shit, like what do I do? Like, do I hug him? Do I say what's up? Like, hey, whatever. So I mean, honestly, we kind of just played it off like nothing had happened. Because at that point, everybody kind of figured that we were already having sex with each other anyway, which we weren't. But up until that point, but it was kind of just like any other day. I was just like, hey, Daleyan, what's up? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. We never had the conversation of, so how was it? Or was it good? Was it that? Da, da, da. We never had that conversation. We kind of just skipped over that. And then after that first time, it kind of just kept happening. Because at that point, why stop? So, fast forward to 12th grade, we were student aides together. Or was that 11th grade?
I can't remember.
That had to be 11th grade. I think 12th grade we just had half-day schedules.
Yeah.
So 11th grade, well, back up to 11th grade, back to 11th grade, we were student aides together. So like the first 2 periods, we kind of like were with each other in the same class. We had a fairly good amount of classes together, where like good classes, like we had physics together, where he would copy my freaking homework and leave me after class and not wait for me or walk with me to my next class or whatever. But in 11th grade, I had a half-day schedule and he didn't. So it was always me, like, you know, having nothing to do while he's in school. So it was like I'd be out of school by like 11 o'clock, 11:30 or so. And I'd like hop on the metro bus and just go to his house and just, you know, stay at his house until he got out of school. Most of the time, he'd literally just come home, see me sitting on his bed or see me sleep on his bed, and he'd just come in, put his stuff down, change his clothes, and then leave back out. Like, he just didn't care. Like, it was like he kind of figured I was there, or figured that I was either there or not there, or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. Most of the time, if I would come to his house like later on in the evening,